Hello, and welcome to the Finding Wisdom Show. We have a very special show for you today. I have a very special guest by the name of Bill Russo, who has an internet radio program, and the name of the show is Bill Russo. Is that correct, the Bill Russo Show?
It's the Bill Russo Show, and it's on the Centani Broadcasting Network. It's spelled C-E-N-T-A-N-N-I, Broadcasting, B-R-O-A-D-C-A-S-T-I-N-G.com, CentaniBroadcasting.com, the Centani Broadcasting Network.
Wow, pretty cool.
Yeah,
very excited about your show. How is it going?
It's going very well. I got involved in doing internet radio broadcasts quite by chance. I had been doing webcasts prior to this experience doing internet radio. I was doing webcasts for a website known as dolcechannel.com, and on that I conducted interviews of people and learned about the video aspect of media. When that company took a hiatus, they're still active, but they're not filming any longer. They have a website, dolcechannel.com. A good friend of mine, the president of Centani Broadcasting, asked me if I would be interested in doing internet radio. So I told him I've never done radio before, but it sounded interesting. I love radio. I listen to radio every day in the morning, and I am a dial turner, so I listen to 710 AM, 770 AM, NPR 820, the two news channels, 880 and 1010. And I also listen to the FM stations. And I enjoy the dialogue on radio and also music listening. And that's what I try to bring to my program, The Bill Russo Show.
That's great. That's fantastic. What? How was it when you did the webcast? That's so, you know, it's different.
The webcast is different because it's more visual, and you have to be attentive to the cameras.
Right.
And in being attentive to the cameras, you're constantly aware that you're being filmed. And when you have guests on, or when you have guests that have a product or something visual to demonstrate, art or something that distinguishes them, maybe they're dancers or something, everything has to be coordinated and timed exactly and perfectly to flow evenly for the viewer. You have the viewer in mind. On radio, it's a little different because it's a talk medium, except for when we play music or when we play commercials. We just kind of switch to those. So the experience is different. I can say I actually like both experiences.
Oh, okay. So I couldn't ask you which one you preferred better at this point.
Well, I think that each one has value, and the programming that I do now, is, since it's internet-based, it allows a listener, internet-based radio, it allows a listener to actually work on their computers and do other things, whether it's a Microsoft Office application, or it's doing a Google search, or checking their emails. They can actually log on to CentaniBroadcasting.com and listen to the program while
so it's more convenient.
It's more convenient, I think, for listeners
to hear it on the radio.
I think so.
Sorry, to hear it on the internet.
I think so, and for most radio listeners,
is it hard
it's an easy experience.
Click on the link? How
no,
would a person, a viewer, that wanted to listen to the radio station, how would they do it?
For a listener to listen to any internet radio broadcast, is usually on the web page of that internet radio programming. There's usually a link or an icon which will say listen now or listen live, and you click on it and the current program comes up. Some internet radio sites and pages have multiple programs that you can choose which one you want to listen to at the time that you're on the screen. In addition, many internet sites have archived programs similar to YouTube, where you can go to the website and you can click on a date or a subject or a host name and listen to previous shows.
Oh, that's excellent. Very excellent. I want to switch things around. I wanted to get a little background from you. I know that you actually where you used to be in the New York City Housing Authority. You used to work in the management level. Is that correct?
That's right. I
Can you walk us through your experiences and how that was?
recently retired from the New York City Housing Authority after a 34-year
34 years.
career.
Wow.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Well, I was 10 when I started.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Actually, I started in 1976 at an entry-level position with the New
Okay.
York City Housing Authority, known as
Entry
Housing
level?
Assistant. Entry level.
Okay.
And then I took a series of exams, civil service exams, because in city government, many of the various city agencies and what we call non-mayoral agencies have exams to enter and to advance. So I took all of the exams that were necessary to advance after having taken an open exam where everyone can take to
So the
achieve
system
first
does
level.
work.
The
taking
system
these
does work.
exams.
It's not
How long do they call
the
you
best
back?
system when someone who is really good at what they do is but not a good test taker, but it's probably the fairest system.
The
Because
fairest
everyone, fairest.
Okay.
I think everyone has an opportunity to study and to take a test, apply their knowledge, and level the playing field. So I benefited from that system, and then at a certain point, there were no more exams to take, and
Okay.
after that point, all positions were pretty much by appointment. So I was appointed to a management level, and I retired at a management level as a deputy director of the Capital Projects Division within the New York City Housing Authority.
Oh, that's very interesting. From entry level, you came. What was the position again that you had?
It was deputy director of the
Deputy
Capital
Director?
Projects Division.
Oh.
But I had had multiple positions throughout my career in the Housing Authority, including having worked in the field, we call the field, which is actually the housing developments, the projects, in the offices of the housing developments at an entry level, an assistant manager level, at a manager level. I was at one time the manager of the Jacob Riis houses, which is on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, on East 10th Street and Avenue D is where the office is located. And it was a 1,765 unit development, 19 buildings, 12 high-rise and 7 low-rise buildings. And it was a great experience. That's the heart of the agency, and that is a housing manager. There are about approximately 240 housing developments where there are individual managers managing properties. I was one of those, and then I moved up to a district level, a borough level, and then over to various different departments within the agency.
Wow, that's interesting. What can you tell the viewers about your experience? You know, working your way up the ladder, I would say, working your way from entry-level position to being the deputy director, and the other opportunities while you were moving up. What was that like for you?
I think that the experience of working in any organization that serves people requires the person at any level to be empathetic, to try and have understanding regarding their customers. And I think it was in the late 70s, early 80s where the term customer service was coined. And customer service,
right?
the customer's always right. You know, different companies have different ways of changing names from stock people, cashiers, to associates. But the important thing is not the name, the title. The important thing is if you are empathetic to people, if you are sincere, and if you are a good listener. And I found in my career in the Housing Authority that you have to be a good listener, you have to be empathetic, and you have to accept what residents tell you and act on what you're told, and be prompt in your responses. So my career was blessed, I think, by understanding that early on to be empathetic.
It's a very good skill to have. And being empathetic and actually being sincere shouldn't really be a skill, I would think. You should naturally be empathetic
Well,
and sincere, I would think, no?
I think it's contrary to some of the expressions you hear, whether in song or in social settings. It's just a job. Any good service organization or any entity that's serving the public, you can't have your employees thinking, well, it's just a job, I'll do it tomorrow, or this is not important.
Right.
In delivering services to people, particularly in property management, sometimes it's not just a job,
Right.
it's something that's important and can't wait, whether it's a gas leak in an apartment, or a toilet stoppage, or someone wants you to attend a meeting and it's an emergency meeting of some sort. Flexible and understanding when you're delivering services to people.
That is true. I guess that is an integral part of a company. Each key, every part builds the company. Even,
That's right.
you know, a lot of times we don't take notice to these little things, but yes, that's true. I wanted to know before you go, because time is slowly
Okay.
wrapping up on us, what inspired you to get involved in the arts, being creative, doing webcasting, and then going into the radio, internet? What inspired you? What could you tell the viewers?
Well, that's interesting. It's a very good question.
led you in
I've
that
always had an
direction?
interest in the media and in what the media can do to educate, to inform, to provide resources to people, and to tell true stories of who people are and what they do. And I find that my use of the media or involvement has a lot to do with that. The guests that I usually have on are everyday people. They're not celebrities, people who've already made it and are making a guest appearance to plug their next adventure. I interview a lot of people who are starting out in their business, whether it's writers, actors, musicians, vocalists, rappers, comedians, even bakers and shoemakers and community leaders and others who have a down-to-earth story to tell, or who are on their way to what we call celebrity. And you hope that people take celebrity and use it for good purposes. And that's what I try to do. I try to use my involvement in the media to expose the public to good people. And also, I'm very sensitive to making sure that whatever the ethnic group or whatever the minority group or disenfranchised group, they get a fair shake, so to speak, on their image. And I'm particularly sensitive, in my own case, to the image that Italian Americans receive in the media, because unfortunately Italian Americans are portrayed as either mobsters or buffoons, either the Sopranos or mob wives or Jersey Shore or something like that.
Well,
so I interview a lot of individual people to
That's
bring out
very
their
interesting that
talents.
you say that. We're going to have you back on the show to really explore that part of what's going on with the Italian image that you're saying that's presented out there by the public, what they're receiving actually. But a lot of times that's what they're seeing. So that's why the public is viewing Italians perhaps in that manner.
That's true.
It's a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for having me on your program.
For
I
coming
appreciate
today.
it.
And you have to come back so we could explore more. I mean, there's so much about you that's just so fascinating that you can share with the world and make it a better place. Do you have any words of wisdom before you go to anyone out there who wants to get more into their career and seeking or searching for their purpose?
Well, I would say this, that Martin Luther King Jr. said that the most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And I would echo that it's important to be selfless and work or live on behalf of others, and also in doing that to be genuine, to be who you are, follow your passions, and it comes back to you in gratefulness and in happiness.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
Thank you.